Hello, everyone. I am Jim Wendler, author and creator of 531, and welcome to the live stream. As always, guys, if you have a question, put it in the chat. I will answer it to the best of my ability. We already have a couple questions here. Anyway, we have at London, we have our first scrimmage at London Friday morning. So we will see how our football team is, where we are, who's going to make the impact, who's going to put forth the effort, who's going to knock people on the ground. So I'm super excited. Our training we're just lifting twice this week, and training's been going awesome. I give our kids a ton of credit. Training through 2-a-days, the attitude and effort has been 100% so far. So hats off to the London varsity football program. So, all right. Personally, my training's going awesome. I feel good. I am down consistently around 218 in the mornings. So that's good. We'll see where the weight takes me. Anyway, all right, here we go. All right. Well, speaking of sports, here we go. Nick asks, hey, Jim, what are your thoughts or views on building confidence and mental toughness in young athletes, especially helping them through times when their sport is not going how they'd like? All right, so there's a couple things. I've been part of this as a father and as an athlete, so I know exactly what it's like to have really, really bad times as both an athlete and a parent. So the one thing that I think is important to understand is that's one of the reasons why we participate in sports, is because you need difficult things to test you. You need difficult things to overcome. If we're going to be completely honest, you can pretty much go through your life and not successfully, but you'd be able to live quite a long time just kind of mailing it in and being really easy. A lot of things are given to us. I'm not saying that life is super easy for everyone. I'm saying in general, we don't need to hunt for our food. We don't need to make a log cabin. Most of this stuff is being provided for us, or with some minimal work we can get there. So, but the point being is, this is what's so wonderful about sports, is also some of the toughest things. You're going to go through bad times, and I think that's important. I think everyone kind of agrees with that. At least anyone who's watching this, that's part of the beauty of sports. So the other thing, though, is you talk about building confidence and mental toughness in young athletes. Now, this is where I think maybe I come from a little different point of view. The old point of view would be to, grind your athletes down. This is kind of what they did during basic training, especially during the Vietnam War, with basic training and stuff like that. They just want to break you down and build you back up. Well, I don't think that really applies very well, especially to today's athlete. Things are different, so you have to adjust too. You can't just wish things were like they were in the old days, and then nothing ever gets done. So I believe that physical training, weightlifting, running, all that stuff that we do as a strength coach or whatever you want to call yourself, I believe that you can build confidence and mental toughness by training, and not so much by grinding the kids in the ground, but by giving them challenges, small challenges, sometimes big challenges, that's at their current level of preparedness. So as an example, the challenge might be to do for a young kid, hey, I want to see you do 10 push-ups in 1 minute. I don't care how you get it done, if it's just 10 singles. Now you give that same challenge to a senior who's been through 4 or 5 years of training. It's not a big challenge. So that's not what you would ask for him. So they have to be concurrent. The challenges have to be concurrent with who the athlete is and what his abilities are at the time. But I think you need to stack those wins every single day, or at least almost every single day, or every training day. Stack challenges, let them succeed. Sometimes they're going to fail, and then that helps build the confidence and helps build the mental toughness. So I also believe in stacking wins, not just challenges, but just daily wins. Sometimes for some kids, waking up in the morning on time, having breakfast, that's a win. One of the things I like to do personally is I have a goal list, and I make little checks every day. And a lot of the stuff on the goal list isn't difficult. It's stuff I was going to do anyway. but I like the idea of having a piece of paper with goals on it, and I get to check them off. It gives me a great amount of satisfaction, and it helps build that build a habit of having a goal sheet and accomplishing things. So listen, man, one of the toughest things as a parent is watching your kids struggle, whether it's in school, sports, or, social life or anything like that. And one of the things I heard is, and this is, don't take this actually verbatim on everything, but the more you help them, the more you hurt them. And so while you don't want to see your kids struggle, at the same time, you're not doing them any favors by bailing them out, so to speak, of the tough situations. So obviously, if your kid's in a really horrible situation, if the kid's drowning, you got to go in and save them. All right. But tough times, and I'm telling you, I've seen it with both my sons. When they come out the other end, they're always going to be better people, better athletes, all that other stuff. So, the most thing is as a parent, I know I'm going on and on about this, but I think this is important. As a parent, you have to always keep them encouraged. Make sure you're honest with them, man. If their attitude stinks, tell them their attitude stinks. There's ways of doing things without sounding like a total dick. But at the same time, you don't want to sugarcoat anything either. So, all right, here we go. Brandon Wiggins says, hey, Jim, I have a question about 5x531 in the Forever book on page 90. For the 4-day-a-week option, it has press on Tuesdays and bench. Press on Tuesday and bench on Thursday. Was this correct? Press on Tuesday and bench. Yeah, I guess you probably want to put the bench on Friday. So yeah, I was probably messed it up. I'd have to look at that. I don't have a book sitting around here. I'm not going to go through everything right now, but it's probably just do the regular bench on Tuesday, or press on Tuesday, bench on Friday. So yeah, that's fine. I apologize. There's a lot of stuff to read in that book when I got done proofreading it, and I had someone proofread it, and so I apologize. All right, here we go. Scott Graham says, hi, Jim. I have been running a 3-day low-volume bodybuilding program and looking at coming back to 531. What would be the best way to structure this to still include isolation work on top of supplemental, and also looking at adding conditioning? All right, Scott. So I'm not exactly sure what you're asking here. So you would, the standard, if you were going to do a standard 3-day-a-week 531 program, you have your main lift, and if you want to do supplemental, it would be after that. And then the isolation work would happen as part of your assistance training program. So main lift, supplemental, assistance. And if you're looking to keep on doing some bodybuilding style assistance or isolation work, that would be as part of your assistance training. However you want to structure that, whatever works best for you, but that's what I would probably do. Now, as far as conditioning, you have basically two options. One is do conditioning after you lift, if that fits your schedule better, or we can obviously do some conditioning on your off days. You say you lift Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you do your conditioning on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, or any combination of those. Generally speaking, I would probably, if you want to do conditioning after your lift, I would probably do hard conditioning and do the easy stuff on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, but again, the other thing too, I got to, if it, whatever reason you have to do hard conditioning on your off days, do it. Your body will adapt and you'll be fine. Nothing's going to be perfect. You're going to have to change your training to fit your personal and life schedule. That's just the way it goes, especially as you get older. Ooh, all right. Andres Larson writes, greetings, Jim. Well, greetings, Andres. I've been heading into a 9 to 10 month period where I would like to add half marathon training to my weekly schedule. Oh. Any considerations in pairing that with 531? Any structure you can recommend? My wife has been doing a ton of running the past year, and so we've had to alter her training, obviously. So she has 2 days a week where she lifts. She tried the 3 days a week, and she wasn't recovering the way she wanted to. And obviously for her, the lifting wasn't the weak area, so to speak. So it's not like she needed a ton of time getting stronger. So she lifts, 2 days a week, one main lift, and then she pairs that with some kind of assistance. She does chin-ups, I believe, both training days. So I would probably recommend, again, 2 days a week, one main lift, 2 to 3 assistance lifts. If you want to do more, Andres, the other thing I would recommend doing is looking at it's a blog post I put up called, hopefully I can remember this, Training for Busy and Inconsistent Men. It allows you to alter your training based on, if you don't know when the days you can train, it gives you a template on how to train in such a way. So not just the overall week's schedule, but the training day schedule that allows you to train, especially when recovery has been impaired, whether that's, again, half marathon training or anything else, have a crazy work schedule. So, man, the other thing is you're going to have to really make sure with the running volume, you're going to have to really let that adapt over time. Don't just run the shit out of yourself, 4 days a week, and it's just going to take its toll. So be smart with that too. And don't be afraid. Listen, I know a half marathon, is technically long distance, but you still have to include a little bit of speed training. That's not necessarily sprints, but you got to keep that in a little bit because it will help you quite a bit. All right. So, my wife has developed some kind of training program, and she's been kicking ass with that stuff, with how she trains her running. It's so confusing. I just go out and run if I was her, but that's not the way she does it. So I keep things so stupidly simple. All right. That's why I don't run right now. I ran the other day. Boy, that beat the crap out of my knees and hips, and I don't know why I try. Put on the weight vest, go up and down stairs for 1,000,000 reps, and you'll be fine. That's what I say. All right. Okay, here we go. Chad Jones writes, I'm going to keep my training max the same until the end of this year and see what happens to barbell strength and speed at the beginning of 2025. I'm going to push the assistance work, of course. Yeah, well, it's to the end of the year. What is this, August? It can go up, that's fine. But you might be surprised when the quality of the reps goes up. And that doesn't just mean the final set. It means all your sets. Obviously your warmups, you got to get kind of in the groove of stuff. So really focus on the quality of each and every rep, the speed in every rep, the controlled descent, and every rep should have purpose. I said this, oh God, anyone who's a regular listener or watcher of these is going to want to kick me in my nuggets. But listen, everyone kind of does the same basic stuff. We squat, bench, deadlift, or, some kind of variation. And the one thing that I think really separates people is how you do the lifts and how you do the sets. As an example, every training day, I take a single rack at London and I take them through the assistance work. I can take, 4 kids through 2 exercises. It'll take us, 13 minutes. They'll do 3 sets of each exercise. I coach each and every rep, and the kids are absolutely tanked. They're just, they look around and like, dude, I can't believe that was just 3 sets of 2 exercises. But I really show them how it is to focus on a set, how to focus in on the rep and stuff like that. And you'd be surprised what you can get out of a lot of effort and making sure that your reps are awesome, and not just doing the set to do the set. There's a time and place for that. All right. So anyway, make sure you focus on doing things awesome. So Josh Hayes says, have you ever had a hernia? And if so, how did you proceed moving forward with training? Yes, I have hernias right now. Probably judging from how they felt, I've had them for a long time. I haven't had to get them fixed. I just trained through it. I don't know really how to, it's going to hurt or be uncomfortable. It's, the one thing that always sucked about hernias is getting off the bench press. That always seemed to hurt the most. The other thing too is, make sure you're strengthening your midsection and make sure you learn how to brace, especially for the deadlift. I need to get those things fixed. I had an MRI and I don't know how they can tell hernias I don't understand all that stuff, but the guy told me I had 3 hernias, which not very good. So, but yeah, you're just going to have to be careful with it. And then when it's if it don't, you need to get it fixed before it gets too bad. That's just the way it goes. So. All right, CJR says, hey, Jim, it feels way more natural for me to squat on a slant board. My question is there any cons to using it? Oh, yeah. I assume you mean barbell squat on a slant board. Listen, if I were you, CJ, I would buy Olympic lifting shoes. The slant board, to me, is fine for, body weight work or, dumbbell squats or something like that. But I don't think you should be taking off heavy weights, scooting back and putting your heels on the slant board. I think that's an accident waiting to happen. That's me personally. I would never, ever do that. So I would invest in some squat shoes. I'm sure that the price has gone down. They used to be like $200 or $250 or whatever. I'm sure you can get some for probably some quality ones for around 100 or less. The squat shoes, CJ, will last you, unless your feet grow, will probably last you 10 or 15 years of consistent use as long as you don't do anything stupid in them. I think it's a worthwhile investment, but I do not like the idea of taking off a heavy barbell, walking back, and then getting your butt up on the slant board. I just think that's a horrible idea. Squatting by itself is a dangerous thing for a lot of people, and the last thing you want to do is put some kind of obstacle in there. Basically, you have to overcome. So invest in some Olympic squat shoes. As far as squatting with a raised heel, is there any cons? No. If that's just how you squat, that's fine. I mean, guys have been doing that for a long time, so there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, some people are built better to squat flat-footed. Other people need a raised heel. It's, what are you going to do? God, people are really weird about that. Whatever. All right. And as long as you're squatting, you're going to be okay. Just because where you wear a heeled shoe or unheeled shoe, people get weird about that. All right, here we go. TJ says, hey, Jim, I just want to say thanks for all the help and info you have put out on the live streams and the forum. Well, thank you very much, TJ. You said in Beyond that you believe if you want to get stronger, PR sets, jokers, and FSL should be present in training. Do you still feel this to be true? No, not at all. No. I think they can be part of a training program. I think the problem is when people see a statement like that, like I made, which I think is short-sighted, they think they need to be present all the time. And that's not like an every single set of, every single workout and stuff like that. I guess technically, if you're going to be over like a 12-month period, I think you should be doing some PR sets and some jokers and some supplemental work. So but I don't think they need to be present every single training day on every single set or every single movement. So our kids at London make great gains in strength without doing jokers, and we don't do FSL work. And they still get very strong and they still increase. So again, the most important thing, guys, is how you do something, not just the sets and reps and stuff like that. So just remember that, guys. The next time you sit down, on your computer or with a notebook and trying to write the most impressive training program ever, just remember what's more important is that you do the main lifts, you do the assistance work, and you're doing great sets and great reps. All right, here we go. This is Dino Magical. Should I do the next Walrus workout only when I am fully recovered and no longer have severe muscle soreness? And should I be able to do 3 Walrus workouts per week? Okay, so listen, if you have severe muscle soreness, you're probably doing too much. And I don't know, I guess your definition of severe muscle soreness will be different, from person to person. So you should be able to do 3 body weight workouts a week without running yourself into the ground, unless you have super low general physical preparedness. But even then, you're going to have to tailor back the sets and reps of all the movements so that, yes, you can do it. I 100% believe that. I hope I made sense there. You shouldn't have such deep depth muscle soreness from doing body weight work or any training. Just you overworked your readiness and your preparedness. So, all right, here we go. Manuel says, how do your kids earn the right to put a barbell on their back? Have a great day. All right, so by the time I get the kids, they have already gone through a year or two of training with the junior high team. The junior high team is being coached in the weight room by my wife. So they have to do dumbbell squat. They have to dumbbell squat a 50-pound dumbbell for 20 reps, and the reps have to be great. They can't be struggling, dying like that. They have to be all the way down, all the way up. They have to show good technical prowess, I guess is the best way to say it. And I believe from that point on, then they start with an empty barbell. And their kids are always doing body weight squats, and they're always doing dumbbell squats once they get past that. But that's how they earn the right to put a barbell on their back. It has done me and the team and the kids a great service having a junior high kind of feeder program. I've seen just with the kids that I get now, they know how to load a barbell. They know how to set up the bench press, which I know this sounds stupid, but this stuff matters. They know how to perform the lifts safely. They haven't been loaded to hell. Like I've seen some junior high kids just way too heavy. We try to raise their GPP quite a bit through other means. So when we go out and do stuff, the kids are physically prepared and they know kind of how to do stuff. So, but that's how they earn the right to put a barbell on their back. A 50-pound dumbbell squat or goblet squat done for 20 reps, 100% awesome. There you go. That's the answer. The other thing is we get kids now who can do pull-ups and push-ups like bosses, and I think that's super important too. Not every kid can do them great, but the vast majority of the kids can knock out a ton of pull-ups and push-ups, and man, that really seems to translate too. All right, here we go. John Midget says, getting back into conditioning and not ready for sprints, and I'm saving up for a prowler. I do have a trap bar and plates. Thoughts on farmer carries and how to program them with 531. I think farmer's walk are awesome. I'm not a huge fan of using them for conditioning for the simple reason is I never want to put a heavy weight in someone's hands in a conditioned or a fatigued position when they can't even perform a deadlift correctly. So I'm always a little hesitant about that. But if you're going to use the farmer walk, you don't have to use it for conditioning. You can use it as a strength training movement. Of course, you're going to be out of breath a little bit, but the way that we do that is we simply use the farmer's walk as a part of our assistance work. And so obviously every training day you have an option to do what I call single legs or abs or core. That would fall into that category. So they can be done any training day. But just make sure, again, you don't want to be carrying around and picking up a weight if you can't perform a deadlift correctly. And I think that's super important to understand. So yes, you can do them any training day as part of your assistance work. All right, Joe says, Jim, with your high school team, do you run 531 like in the book? I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, we usually do the 3 weeks first. It was 3x3, then 3x5, then 531. But you have to understand too, what we do is we do a lot of the 3x5 week, especially during the season. And we also do that during like preseason and during two-a-days. So we don't just move on to the next week because it's the next week. So we adjust for that. So the 3x5 week is always obviously our lighter week. So we're able to manipulate that. So, but yeah, we just do the 3 weeks on week 1, 3x5 week 2, and 531 on week 3. And so we usually repeat training maxes at least twice, sometimes more based on how the kids do. So yes, we repeat a lot of training maxes though. I'll tell you that right now. I think we maybe increased the training max on deadlift, I think 3 times during the off season. We just get better at doing the reps that they already can do, but we demand a higher level of standards and a higher level of technique and speed and power and all that stuff. And it works 100% of the time. Again, do things better. Don't just add weight to the bar. Make sure that they're able to do the weight 100% to your standards. When I stop chasing weights on the bar, things get infinitely better. The kids get stronger, the kids get faster, the kids get stronger, the kids get leaner. So that's just been my experience. We also push the assistants super hard. All right, here we go. All right, David writes, hey, Jim, I hope you and your family are doing well. They are. James is actually at boxing right now. Whew. All right, I'm an emergency room nurse, and during my shifts, I can easily walk 10 steps 2 to 3 times a week. I assume you mean 10,000 steps. I don't know what that means. 10. I'm sure you don't just walk 10 steps. What conditioning do you suggest and how many days? David, it's hard for me to answer. I don't really know what you look like and what your your general physical preparedness is. I would probably not do any easy conditioning if I were you, since you're walking all the time. I would probably do maybe 1, maybe 2 hard days of like prowler. It should, or something like that. So it's harder, more direct, very short, maybe 10 to 15 minutes at the most. But again, that's hard for me to answer. I don't know what kind of shape you're in. I don't know what your preparedness is. All that readiness and stuff like that is super important to know. But, let's say you lift 3 days a week, and then maybe one day you do a super hard sled or prowler workout or something like that. But I don't think it needs to last long, maybe 10 to 15 minutes. So anyway, that's what I would generally recommend. Again, it's hard for me to say. Okay. Hey, Jim, pure curiosity with your walrus training. What's your own reason for not doing typical sets and reps? A fewer number of sets taken closer to failure with longer rest versus doing circuits. I don't know what your question is there, AB. Why would I don't know. Listen, you're never going to get the total amount of volume and work if you do take a set of squats to failure and then rest. Dude, that's like 7,000 reps. So it's not, I don't understand that. So let's just say the reason I do it is because I get a better training stimulus doing the things in a circuit fashion. And you get more reps, especially on the chin-ups. The chin-ups, for me, I stink at chin-ups. So it helps quite a bit to do multiple sets of lower reps with the pull-ups. So, all right. Dude, your workouts would take forever. You know how many squats you do? You do like sets of 500. It would be miserable. All right, here we go. Should kids and older beginners build a base of GPP before they start lifting with a barbell? All right, so just so everyone understands, guys, I don't know that's not my general, that's not my definition of GPP. I don't know what yours is, but lifting weights and building muscle is part of your general physical preparedness. Okay. Does that mean that everyone has to start off with a barbell? No. All right. So what do you recommend to build GPP? Let's just go over that. So we lift weights, we do calisthenics, we do some kind of running if possible. If not running, then we do some type of like airdyne stuff. Okay. We do some kind of sled work, prowler and sled. We do med ball work. We do agility work, really simple agility work, like, and jumping rope could be in there. We do some kinds of jumping. We also, GPP, another big part of general physical preparedness is your diet and lean body mass and your body fat percentage. So that's a huge part too. Now, whether or not someone is strong enough to use a barbell, well, that's a whole nother ball game. But if they are, then we generally use a barbell if it's appropriate. And for the younger kids, because they're low levels of GPP, we have to use a dumbbell for them. And a lot of them pass that dumbbell test the first day, and some of them don't. So no, the GPP, the barbell is part of building the base of GPP. It definitely is. So I don't know. I think the term GPP has been just limited in a lot of stuff. So just have to kind of open up your eyes. Again, strength, muscle, conditioning, sprinting, jumping, med ball throwing, calisthenics, stuff like that are all part of the broad picture, guys. Woo! All right, here we go. All right, here we go. You're in a short recently saying that during the 5-3-1 week that you should move up in weight. If you hit 8 to 10 reps in the deadlifts and squat and usually 5 to 8 reps in bench press, does that mean those reps in the last set are total sets? That means the final set. So if you can smoke 10 great reps on that final set on the 5-3-1 week, this is me personally. Again, you may have your own, maybe your training is different and your needs and general physical preparedness is different. But generally speaking, when I work with people, if they're able to get 8 to 10 great reps in the squat and deadlift and 5 to 8 reps in the bench around there, we generally increase the training max, but not all the time. Sometimes I want them to hit better, do more, sometimes less, but very rarely will they have to do less. I'm not exactly, So the thing I think people need to understand is the training max is not like a dick measuring tool, guys. The goal isn't just to keep on adding weight to the training max over and over and over again. You have to look at the big picture. And if doing, a lower training max is going to get you stronger in the long term, then stay with it. Again, we don't move up our training maxes very much. We just work on getting better, doing better reps. I know I go over this all the time, guys. I apologize. I'm probably dropping the ball here on a lot of stuff. So if anyone has any questions about that, listen, we repeat all the time, and we really push the assistance work. It has been not just me, but Louis Simmons really drove this into the ground, is how important the assistance work is, especially for athletes, because it takes less out of you over the long run. And since athletes have compromised recovery because they're doing a lot of other stuff, or they should be doing a lot of other stuff, it works out much better. And the kids feel fresher, they jump higher, and they run faster, all that other good stuff. So you can't listen. I think getting stronger and stuff is super important, but that can't be the only goal when you're training athletes and just general population. Getting stronger isn't super important, but there has to be a big, broad picture. You can't sacrifice putting weight on the barbell for the squat if you can't walk, if you can't move, if you can't, have some kind of mobility and general conditioning. So, all right, here we go. All right. Machado says, seriously, how can I get a neck like you? Oh, that's so sweet. Compliment. I don't even have a big neck. I know it's not an overnight thing, but where and how should I start? I'm not a power lifter nor an athlete, just an average meathead. Well, so am I. So that's how it's always been for most of us. All right, here we go. So it's not, I think the greatest neck thing I did, at least was in college. I would put a neck harness by my bed, and every morning when I'd wake up, I would do 2 sets of like 25. And every night before I went to bed, I would do 2 sets of 25. Again, it was just a neck harness. I don't remember how much weight was on there, but I never changed the weight. So it wasn't terribly heavy, probably like 25 pounds or something like that. So I'd always try to do 50 reps before bed and 50 reps when I woke up. I think that can be kind of limiting, obviously. So one thing that I still do, and I have all our kids do, is we lay on a bench, hang your head off the bench so you're facing the ceiling. You put a plate on your forehead, usually a 25-pound plate or a 45-pound plate, and you just do neck flexion up and down. I usually do 50 reps every single training day of either the harness or the neck flexion. The big thing for me is, obviously having a big neck is cool, but obviously I don't want sleep apnea either. But for me personally, I have it hurts to turn to the left. It's got to be from football. So one of the things I've noticed, and it's not just me, but some of the doctors I've worked with, the more neck work that I do, as long as it's not super heavy, the better off, the better my neck is, the better my back feels. as you know, as an example, when I don't do a lot of neck, if I'm driving and I have to shoulder check the left side, it's a tough time. That's why my wife's here. She just walked in, so she can always shoulder check me on the left side. And I quickly do a prayer, and then I just turn. So anyway, the most important thing is, like you said, it's not an overnight thing, guys. This is something that needs to be done very consistently. The only thing I would do is when you start doing neck for the first time, do not overdo it. It may feel awesome when you're doing it, but that night and that next day and the next days after that, guys, your neck will feel horrible. You'll have a headache. It'll be hurt to kind of lay down, even to go to sleep, hurt to keep your head up. It'll be miserable. So what I would do is I would start probably with maybe 25 to 50 total reps of neck harness and neck flexion. You can choose one or both. I really wouldn't go terribly heavy on that stuff either. Every one of our kids at London uses a 45-pound plate. So I usually just do a 25-pound plate. The one little trick that I do that I can't get anyone else to do is with the neck flexion. I always put a towel on my head, and then I put the 25-pound plate on there, and I just go up and I balance it, and I just hold it isometrically for like 30 seconds. I do that a couple times. And that is something I think helps greatly. So if you can't do that, maybe you can have someone push your head down and then hold it isometrically. You can do the sides too with partner, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. And I don't know why I think it's gross, but putting my hand on someone's sweaty hair or head is kind of gross. So if you have a partner that's willing to do that, man, have them put a towel on there and let it rip. So. But since most of us train alone or they don't have someone with them, neck flexion, neck extension, around 50 to 100 total reps. Start very light and start with a low amount of volume. So, all right. David says, oh, here's another neck question. Would you count neck work as accessory work? I imagine not. How many days a week would you include it? I am a tall man and I feel like I need to strengthen it. All right, so we'll go over this real quick again, just so I'm clear. When I was lifting at like West Side and stuff, I'd probably do neck work twice a week. It wasn't a huge thing for me because my neck was already massive at that time. I didn't need to do a ton of work, and it was always done very light. But if I were you, if you're training, let's say 3 to 4 days a week, I would do it every training day. Again, low volume. Start with 25 to 50 total reps, and you can increase it to 500, increase it to 100 reps. I do not recommend going terribly heavy on it. I know some people can. That's one area I don't want to really hurt any more than it's already been hurt. Make sure your reps are solid. So I'd rather use a little lighter weight with a bigger range of motion. Boop, I always try to touch my chin to my chest when I do the neck harness. I think that's super important. I'm trying to think of anything else. I personally do it every single day, but again, maybe 50 total reps, and it's never that heavy, ever. All right, here we go. All right, Tim McCain says, hey, Jim, I found running Leviathan for the last 2 months. I found it works great for lower body, but not as good for upper for me. Thoughts on doing Leviathan for lower and FSL for 5 through? Okay. Yeah, Tim, I think that's a great idea. Listen, the most important thing is when you're training and going through these specific programs, you need to learn what works well, what doesn't work so well. And so after a while, you need to take this for your bench, that for your deadlift, this for your squat, this for your bench, whatever. And you start comparing and contrasting things like that, and you start Frankensteining the program together. I think that's super important to do. So yeah, Tim, I think the most important thing you've learned in the last 2 months is 1,000% that it works good for your lower body, and 1,000% it doesn't work well for your upper body. That's 2 great lessons that you've learned in 2 months. Now you can go ahead and start altering stuff for your upper body and see how that works. And again, guys, a lot of times something's not going to work well the first time you use it. It may work well 5 years later. So anyway, Tim, you learned a great deal in 2 months, man. That's awesome. I love when I figure something out, man. Sometimes it takes me forever. I'm such a dum-dum sometimes, especially when I'm training the kids. I really want something to be true, and then the real truth is punching me in the face. And I finally like, okay, fine. You know what? I can't ignore the evidence. So, man, the FSL work for me was a huge eye opener with the kids. We started doing it right away. And then when we took it out, we got better. I don't know why, it just did. So maybe different for you, but that's what I saw with our kids overwhelmingly, especially with the squat and the deadlift. Bench press, God, do we have trouble with the bench press? Oh, kids need to eat. They need to eat, and they need to eat protein. All right, here we go. It says, hey, Jim, I decided to challenge myself by entering into my first powerlifting meet. I'm a skinny guy, and my numbers are pretty low. How much would you spend? How much time would you spend building muscle versus prepping for the meet itself? Trey, this is the most important thing. He mentions that the meet isn't until early next year. Listen, you can't separate getting stronger and putting on muscle. All right, you can do both at the same time. People have done it at the same time forever. I don't know if this is the internet bullshit that's hitting everyone, but you can put on muscle and get stronger. In fact, they go hand in hand. They always have, and they always will. I don't know why that gets thrown out or what people are thinking. So my answer is get stronger, put on muscle, you're going to be better. I personally think the majority of people, at least people that I see, like that maybe send me a video and stuff, most of these people are spending way too much time handling super heavy weights and doing so with poor form, and then thinking it's this specific stupid weakness. Like, I need to bring up my rear delts because of this. It's like, dude, you don't have any muscle on your body. You don't have any muscle. And you need to learn how to, brace a little bit and put on some mass on your upper back, making sure your abs are super strong, making sure your shoulders look like they got something going on, make sure your thighs are massive. And that doesn't mean you do bodybuilding work. It means it's all done at the same time, and it can be done. It has been done. If anyone knows anything about Westside Barbell, the concurrent training, which got labeled as conjugate training, is the bringing up of several abilities at the same time. In the case of Westside Barbell, that is speed, strength, and hypertrophy. All right. So if the guys at Westside Barbell, who are much more advanced than majority of people, are able to bring everything up at the same time, so can you. I need people to understand that, guys. Essentially, we do concurrent training out at London, right? We try to bring up the conditioning, the speed, the strength, the muscle, the jumping ability, all that other stuff. We are trying to raise it up all at the same time. So Trey, I don't know where you came up with this idea that you can't get stronger and put on muscle. I don't know what the understanding is with that, but you can do it. And I just don't know what else to say. I mean, do you think bodybuilders are weak? They're not. You look at some of the raw powerlifters, they're fucking huge. They got tons of slabs of muscle on them. You think they don't put on muscle? I don't know. Whatever. All right. So Trey, you can do both. Do both. All right. And you don't need to peak for a meet. All right. Just get strong as hell, put on as much muscle as possible, and let the chips fall where they may. All right. There's nothing worse than peaking. You can't peak if you're only like a foot tall. That's what if your lifts are only a foot tall, there's no need to peak. Strong Slob says, hey, Jim, what are your current thoughts on 531 pyramids? Why didn't you include them in the Forever book? I have no idea. Personally, reverse pyramids are my favorite, which is why I ask. Man, Strong Slob, if they work for you, dude, go ahead and let them rip. Let them rip. I don't know why I didn't include them in the Forever book. I have no idea. So I apologize for that. Maybe an oversight. I don't know, but there's nothing wrong with doing them. As long, if it works for you, Strong Slob, go ahead and let it rip. So, all right, we're doing pretty good here. All right, again, guys, if you have any questions, we're down to the last question here. So we will always finish early if possible. I got an awesome training day planned. I got 2 workouts today to do. And it's not hot as balls today, so I'm pretty pumped up. All right, here we go. What 3-day template would you recommend for strength and muscle gains for someone with a strenuous job? Well, again, I don't know what strenuous job means. I don't know what your recovery is going to be like. Listen, if you don't know what to do and you have a strenuous job, number one, make sure your protein goals are 1,000% balls on. So whatever you weigh, lean muscle mass, get that amount of protein in with real foods. That's number one. So if you weigh 200 pounds and you have, 10% body fat, let's say, try to get 180 grams of protein, all right, from real food. That's number one. Number two, because you have a strenuous job, I would recommend reading the article. Oh my God, we just mentioned this before. Training for busy and inconsistent men. Because of the strenuous job, you may have to alter your training from day to day. So I would not have a set template, so to speak. Like most workouts, this gives you some variety, some autonomy over your training that if you're feeling really bad, you can just do X. If you're feeling really good, you can do X plus 1, plus 2, plus 3. So that's what I would recommend. Those two things. Make sure you're sleeping, and I think you'd be good to go. But if you have a strenuous job, listen, you're going to have to get your diet in order, and you're going to have to make sure you're recovering, and make sure that don't just look at people get so wrapped up in volume. I want you to get, again, wrapped up in how you do things. Okay. If I can take 4 16, 17-year-olds who have been lifting for 3 years and get them to do 2 exercises, 3 sets each in 12 minutes and have them absolutely smoke, then you can too. So again, don't just do a million things all at once. Stick with the training for busy and inconsistent men, and really make sure you're doing things awesome. So, all right. Can you get into how do you warm up for your Walrus workouts? I ride the bike, the Airdyne bike, and then I do some crunches and stuff, some ab work, some low back, just really easy stuff. I go into a push-up position and hold it. Then I hang from a chin-up bar, squat down, usually during hurdle duck unders, do a couple of these, couple of those, and I'm ready to go. It's not hard work. It's not like I'm lifting 1,000,000 pounds, unless you think I'm a fat ass. Fuck you, man. Don't call me fat. Anyway, so that's how I warm up. Bike, do some isometric holds in the push-up position, hang from a chin-up bar, sit into a squat position, or do some kind of duck unders, and I'm ready to go. So it's not terribly involved. I usually ride the bike for about 10 minutes. I find that the Airdyne bike, at least for me, is a great warm-up. So highly recommended. All right, here we go. What would you recommend doing 2 weeks and 1 week out from a powerlifting meet? Well, Brandon, this is a complicated question because I don't know what you're doing for the rest of the weeks. So it really would depend on how you do stuff. 2 weeks out, I think you're good to go, whatever your normal training is. 1 week out, so let's say you're lifting on Saturday, I would probably squat on Monday, bench on Wednesday, lower volume, and I do very minimal assistance work, and then the rest of the week would be off. So that final week is squat on Monday. I wouldn't deadlift at all that week. Wednesday, I would probably bench press. And again, low volume, make sure the bar speed's awesome. I certainly wouldn't go up to your openers or anything stupid like that. So, but that's what I would recommend. I think way too many people make way too much out of peaking for a meet. Again, you got to have some muscle mass and strength to actually want to, need to peak. I think people overcomplicate the peak. I think people do the meet like 7 times before they do the meet. That doesn't make any sense to me. If it did, then everyone in the NFL would play a game Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then they'd play the same game on Sunday. It doesn't work like that. So just worry about, the guys that do really well at meets are guys who are really strong. And the guys that are really strong consistently kick ass for a long time. And then the week before the meet, they, take Wednesday or Thursday, Friday, Saturday off and lift on Sunday or something similar. So don't get wrapped up on the peak, guys. It'll ruin you. Okay. Do you have any experience with greasing the groove method? Does it work? I do not. I think for some people, for some movements, I think it's pretty good. So if you want to give it a shot, go ahead and do it. I'm all for people actually doing stuff physically. So, but I don't know, unless you count doing like Mason and I did 150 squats, 100 push-ups, and 50 pull-ups every 4 hours for 24 hours. I'm not sure that's exactly the same thing. So, but yeah, give it a rip, man. All right, here we go. Sir Mrs. Okay, hey, Jim, for 5-3-1 Walrus workouts, can I cut the amount of reps down since I'm barely starting? Yes. Yes, he says, Sir Mrs., I did the 125 squats that took me 5 rounds to complete, and my legs are super sore. I also went past the 30-minute goal by about 5 minutes. Yes, so listen, we have the base. Again, we should everyone do a shot right now. You have the base workout. If it's too much, then just cut it down by whatever is appropriate for you, and then stay there for about 4 weeks. If you feel good and feel like you can raise up, go ahead. You don't have to raise everything up at the same time. You can raise 1 or 2 things up. But definitely, if you're super sore from the 125 body weight squats or weight vest squats, then go ahead and knock it down to 75. And make sure, especially if you're doing the Walrus stuff after your main lift and after your supplemental lift, if you're doing a supplemental lift, I'd probably start with it depends on how in shape you are, probably around 20 minutes total, and then work with that number. So listen, you can only do what you're prepared and ready for, guys. Just because so-and-so does something, or you saw someone do 5,000 of these, that doesn't mean you have to. And I guarantee you, when they started, the person that you're looking at, they didn't start like that. They started with very low total reps, just like the guy who bench pressed to 600. He had to bench press 100 pounds first. All right, just be careful who you look to. Doesn't mean you can't use them for inspiration, but that's not you. Be okay with who you are, man. It's fine. You are who you are. I have this really weird obsession with people wishing they were someone else, and I don't get that. Be proud of who you are. Be awesome with who you are, and let's try to get better people. Okay. Luke Smith says, hi, Jim. I compete in strongman, and I focus so much on only strength training because the competitions have been so heavy for me. Okay. But I have recently noticed my cardio is horrible. 10 burpees or 1 hill sprint or basic stuff kills me at trying to find a starting place to get back in shape. So, Luke, if I were you, I would probably recommend, and I'd probably do this, either in the morning or at night, is do easy conditioning for about 30 minutes or maybe 45 minutes. And for most people, that would be like a walk, or you can walk and climb up some hills occasionally. I don't think you really need to do the hard conditioning if your easy conditioning is struggling. I think you will get a ton out of it. I think it's important that you do it 4 to 5 days a week. You probably can start with 3. I don't know how good a shape you're in, and let it get to a point after maybe 8 weeks where it's pretty easy that you can walk for an hour. That's the only issue with easy conditioning. It takes time. All right. The other thing that I've noticed, and this is not just me noticing this, is a lot of times your conditioning is going to be linked to how much you weigh. If you feel like you can lose some body fat, I would do so. If I know it being heavy really helps in strength training, so you have to be wary about that. But I would not say go push a prowler 1,000,000 times or do some hard stuff. I think you need to get the easy conditioning out of the way first, and then see how your training goes. So you got to learn how to basically walk literally before you run. I don't think obviously you need to run or anything like that. So start 3 to 4 days a week, 30 to 45 minutes. And I would do that for at least 8 weeks and be consistent with it. It has been my experience that the better like weight vest walking shape that I get in, everything gets easier. Everything gets easier. And the other thing is when I drop body fat, well, when I drop body weight too, but when I drop that, it makes a huge difference in my conditioning. They may not be right for you, but holy cow. This was a couple years ago. I got sick and I lost like, I don't know, probably 30 pounds in 5 days. I just didn't eat and I just slept all day. long story short, I didn't have the Rona either. Anyway, long story short, I was incredibly weak. I dropped, I was under 200 pounds for the first time in God knows how long. But I remember after I kind of got my my legs back, so to speak, I went out for a walk and I couldn't believe how easy it was just to move. Being at that time, I was probably 205. I had gained a little bit of weight back. So again, that's also needs to be understood. So just from the overall picture. So, and that's one of the reasons why I'm losing weight now. I feel infinitely better. I sleep better. I like to get down as low as I possibly can. So I'm excited. Woo! Just a new goal. That's the other thing. I got something else to it. You know, I tried to play football and I did it. I went to squat 1 million pounds and I did it. And now I'm trying to get as light and suburban commando as I can. So we'll see where that takes me. I got plenty of time. I have 17 months. So that's the next goal, is about 17 months away or so. Anyway, all right. Does anyone have anything else? Yes? No? Anything great? Today I am doing, got to climb stairs today, which is going to suck. And I have to do a sled push-up, chin-up workout with some farmer's walk in there. That's pretty exciting stuff, let me tell you. All right, I'll go ahead and get going here, guys. I really appreciate all the questions. I hope you guys appreciated some of the answers. I'm sure some of them probably mumble a little bit and kind of get off track. So I really appreciate everyone. Thank you for stopping by. Next week, we will probably be around Thursday or Friday. I don't know what my schedule is going to be like, but once the football season kicks off, it will be back to our regular Friday mornings, since I have Friday pretty much off until game day or game time. So, all right. Love you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Bye.